Hello everyone. So today I will be starting with a very interesting topic on Panda data frames. So in this series I will be creating a lot of videos on Panda data frames, like what are Panda data frames, how we can create them, when we should be using it, and what all tasks we can do using Panda data frames. So there will be multiple videos on this topic. So in this video I will be explaining you what are Panda data frames and how we can create them. So mainly these Panda data frames are used for data level activities like data analysis activities we can do using Panda data frames. So as we know, data analysis is very important and interesting topic nowadays because everything is related to data. So these data frames are very useful and we will see why they are in so much use and what we can do using them. So in short, I will just explain you what are these data frames and how we will be creating them. So Panda data frames are nothing but a two-dimensional size mutable tabular data structure. So what do we mean when we say two-dimensional? It's like table structure that we have in SQL tables, any database table, or we create tables in Excel file which has rows and columns. So the Panda data frame is similar to those tables only, which has rows and columns similar to SQL table, and we can perform SQL like operations like select, filter, join, aggregations. So it will help us to do a lot of data analysis activities. So as I said, where it can be used when we want to perform data analysis, data like comparisons, scientific analysis, pattern analysis, and any other operations that you can think of doing on data, you can use Panda data frames in those tasks. So it will be very useful when you are dealing with data. So let's have a look on how we can create these data frames. Okay, so we'll be doing hands-on on these things right now. So the very first thing is you have to install the data frames, and as we know in Python we can use pip command and we can install using pip install pandas. So I am not using it because I have already installed it. So first run this command to install it, and once you have installed it, what you have to do, you have to import it using import pandas as pd. Now this pd, you can use any other alias also. This is just an alias to refer to this Panda data frames. So I have already installed it, but if you have not installed it, you first install and then we write this command, after which you will be able to use pandas. Now in this video we will be looking into how we can create these Panda data frames, and there are multiple ways of creating it. You can think of many other ways, but today I will be explaining some important and popular methods which you will be using frequently to create these data frames. Okay, so first thing is, let's create it using dictionaries. So you know what is a dictionaries in Python, I think you already know it. So first let's create a dictionary, and then that dictionary will be passing into data frame. So we'll be looking into how we can do it. So first create a dictionary, and I am creating a very basic dictionary having some common rows and columns, or keys and values as you can say. So I am creating a normal, say, employee dictionary. So I will putting some name. Okay, so any names you can put, not necessary any specific name that you have put to keep, but ensure that you are using the correct syntax for dictionary. So dictionary is nothing but a combination of rows and columns. Okay, so this name, then I am putting age. Okay, so to save time I am just using these autocomplete values. You can use any other values also, but our main task is to see how we can use this dictionary to create data frames. Okay, so these three keys and value pairs I have used to create a dictionary. Okay, let's see if we are able to print this dictionary. Okay, so this dictionary is printed. Now we will pass this dictionary to create our data frame. So syntax is, we will first define the name for this data frame, Then since we have created this alias for pandas, we have to use this alias pd, then data frame. This is a inbuilt function to create the data frame using pandas. And now pd.dataframe, inside this we will pass this dictionary as the parameter. So now this command will create the data frame for you, and now to see whether it is actually created or not, just write print df or whatever name you kept here, df1 I have used. So if you just run this thing, okay, you can see that this data frame is printed. This is the dictionary that we have printed just to check it, and this is the data frame. So as you can see, it is much like an SQL table. These are the columns, name, age, city, and these are the rows. So it is a table, two-dimensional table structure which is similar to SQL table. And these 0, 1, 2, 3, these are the indexes that are created by data frame by default. So in some next video we will see how we can use it, but for now just focus this that it is a table like structure. Okay, so this is one way of creating a data frame. Here we use the dictionary. Let me remove this print function, it is not needed. So this is the first method of creating a data frame. Now we will be looking into another method, define using list of dictionaries. So here we will be creating a list, and inside list we will be creating dictionary. Okay, so dictionary 2 equal to, now as we said, list of dictionaries. First I have created a list, and inside this I will create dictionaries. Okay, so these are just a data set, you can say. How you create your data set, that depends upon you, but these are some common methods of creating the data. So I will just use similar structure, name, say Ankit, and let's use this autocomplete so we can save our time. Okay. Okay, so we can see we have created a dictionary, or let's name it as list because this is actually a list. And now similar structure, pd dot data frame. So this will be the format to create the data structure for data frames. Now if we run this thing, you can see that it is printed. So let me just print as separator to avoid confusion. Okay, so you see this was the first data frame that we created using dictionary. This is the second data frame which we created, list of dictionaries. So here we had 4 records. This is the column and 4 values were there. So these values became rows and these keys became columns. And here these 3 records are there and 3 columns are there, name, age, city, and 3 values are there. Now since we said it is mutable, you can change this, like you can add records also. So here I added one more record. So now you will notice that there are 4 records. Okay, so one more record is added. So any number of records you can add, and if you want to add a column also, you can do this. Say department, and any value you can add here. Okay, and similarly here also. So we added one more column. So we changed the structure. There were 3 columns, now there are 4 columns. Okay, so name, age, city, department. So you can add or remove columns, add or remove records. These all operations you can do. So this was another method of creating a data frame. So first we used a dictionary. Second we used list of dictionaries. Okay, now in the third method we will just use list. So define using list of list. So here we will just use list. So list nested inside list. Okay, so let's see how we can use it. Let me name as list2 equal to, I have defined a list, and inside this list I will pass 2, 3 list. So how will let's use these values that are coming already. Okay, so just to focus on the data. So this is list, and inside this list we are passing 4 list, nested list. So Ankit, then age, then city and department. Name, age, city, department, these 4 things we are passing here. And then just use print statement as we have used earlier. Print, sorry, I have not created the data frame. So same syntax, df3 equal to pd dot data frame and list 2, and then print df3. So let's see what happens here. Okay, so these 2 data frames were already existing. Now this is the third one. You can see 4 records are there, but you do not see the column names. 0, 1, 2, 3 you are seeing. Unlike in other 2 cases, the column names were present. Now you do not see column names. What is the reason? Because in this list we are passing values. There are no keys. In first 2 method there were dictionary, which is a combination of key and values. So key became columns, value became rows. In this case also we had key and values. But when you are passing list, there are no key value concept, there are just values. So these values are printed as records. But how do you pass columns here? So when you are just using list, you have to pass columns while you create this data frame. So in this syntax, you have to pass the name of the columns. How you can do it? Just put comma and put columns equal to, and then mention the name of the column which matches with this sequence. The first is name, then the second is age, then third is city, and fourth is department. So in the same sequence you put your column names, otherwise it will be confusing. So name, age, city and department. Now if you run this, so see, now these columns are coming. So when we used only the list, the values were printed as rows, but column names were not present. So to pass column names, we have to mention in this manner. So just ensure that the sequence in which these values are present, in the same sequence you are putting the columns, otherwise the data might look incorrect. Okay, so this is the third method of creating the data frame. Now we will be looking into some more methods of creating the data frame. So there is another method in which we can use either dictionary of dictionaries or list of lists. So we can create such kind of combination. The main thing that you have to keep in mind is that how you want to pass the data and what kind of data you want to use. So that way you pass your data and then define the dictionary. Define the dictionary or list and pass that object to the data frame. Okay, so now let's define a fourth method using dictionary. So there is another method of using the dictionary. So what I will do, I will create data equal to, now I'm creating a dictionary, and inside this what I will do, I will just use 2-3 columns. So say for example name, okay, and age. So just 2 columns I am using here. Okay, and then df4 equal to pd dot data frame and data print df4. Okay, so you see it is printed. So any number of columns you can use, not necessarily that 4 columns or 5 columns. It is up to us how many columns we want to print. Now say for example what I wanted to see is what happens if I remove one of these values. So does it give some error or what, we will see here. So see, all arrays must be of the same length. So this is what I wanted to show you. So if in this first array you are passing 4 values, this is the key, these are the 4 values. So this second key you have to pass 4 values. If you remove one of the values, then you will see an error. So put some value, because this is a table like data structure. So table, we know it's a structured database. So you have to pass data in a structured manner. We cannot use an unstructured method of using the data. So this is another method of creating the dictionary, Panda data frame. Now last method that I wanted to show you, actually not last, but in this video we are looking into these methods. There can be many other ways, but one very important method of using is to use a CSV or Excel file. Okay, so here I will show you using an CSV file. So let me see if I have some existing CSV file, otherwise I will create a file. So you can use a file. So in most of the cases you will be having some files in your system, and you want to use those files into your system, into your data frame. Okay, so let me create a file for you. So in this folder I will create a CSV file. Okay, so I will use a CSV file in this video. You can use Excel file also. Okay, so this is a CSV file, and let's say I am putting some two columns only, ID and name, ID 1 2 3 4, and name is Amit, Ankit, Deepak, Rajnish. So I'm just creating a basic CSV file, and let's name it as employee. Okay, and this is the path. So now here how we can use it. So first of all we have to define this as a df5 is equal to pd dot read CSV. Okay, so this is one method of using the CSV file while reading the data, and then you have to pass the path of that file where that file is present. So where I have created this file, I have created this file at this folder. Okay, so let me just paste this path, and then what is the name of the file? Name of the file is employee.csv. Okay, or I think let me create this file itself. In this folder, I just want to put a smaller path instead of a bigger path, so I will just remove this part. Okay, and just change this hash to this one and put the correct name, and then print df5. So I think this is the most important method of creating a data frame, because most of the time you might have some CSV file that are present in your system which you want to use in your folder. See users, just a moment. I think the path was not correct, because sometimes the syntax is different when we are using different Panda versions. Okay, so as I said, we have to use this method, and then employee.csv. Okay, so let's see, this file is printed. Now let me just correct it slightly, because sometimes it takes that tab as the delimiter, hence it merges the columns. Delimiter. and I'm just using this tab so that it separates my columns. Okay, now run it again. See, so this is the CSV file that we have created with two columns, ID, name, and these four values are printed. So these are some common methods of creating. Like first we created using dictionary, then we had list of dictionary, then list of list, then we checked some negative scenario. But what I think is the most useful way of creating a Panda data frame will be this method, in which you can use a CSV file and read it into your Python code and pass that data to the data frame. So any size of file you can use and it will be creating a data frame for you. So any method you can use, but remember that what data you want to use in your data frame and what main columns or what operations you want to use. So in next video we will be seeing how we can perform those operations, but mainly in this video we want to check how we can create a data frame. And there are many other methods also to create, but these are some common methods, and this is mostly useful when you want to read some CSV file. So I hope you are able to understand how we can use or create these data frames. In the next video we will be looking into some other operations that we can perform on these data frames. So thanks for watching this video.